Well, hey there. Welcome to day 1165 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business, over quarter century in corporate America, as well as 47 plus years of, I guess I have to say 48 now because I had a birthday, 48 years of different businesses in different industries, running my own, owning with partners, owning in different corporate structures or just different, business structures over the decades. And now transitioning to the online world from the offline world. Started a couple of years ago, which super grateful that I did that prior to COVID-19, but I still have not duplicated the success I had offline online. And maybe it's because I should be doing a hybrid approach, not just going all online. Since I am having some cognitive dissonance, I was thinking about, what am I feeling today? I'm having some cognitive dissonance with respect to things that I'm learning. I'm studying with a couple of new people this year, and they're very different approaches. One is it's not Tony Robbins. I've studied with Tony Robbins for decades, but he's very Tony Robbins-esque, I would say. Personal development guy, focuses heavily on communication, confidence, business, the whole slew of topics, but is very much the traditional personal development track. Then I am learning from someone that my son introduced me to that is all about having done it, and takes a very hardcore, real life, realistic, no nonsense, in your face, you're a bunch of pansies, and you're making excuses and you're just not doing it. Most of you won't ever do anything approach, which based on my experience, I can very much relate to. And I think that's one of the dissonance things, the cognitive dissonance things I'm having with pushing back on creating and recreating what I did offline in the online world. I'm just thinking about this morning, so it's not necessarily coming out of my mouth as eloquently as I think it's floating around in my brain. But I'm realizing that by studying these two very different people and ways of teaching, it is making my brain just kind of explode on a daily basis in terms of lessons learned and what's working, what's not, what's right for me, what's not right for me, what's false beliefs that I've thought and believed for decades that are absolutely positively nonsense, and I still am continuing to believe them, but now I'm questioning some of those things. So it's really going to be an interesting, fun year, I think, in terms of what comes out of all this and what I actually act on versus all of the things that I'm learning. And I say cognitive dissonance because what I'm used to thinking, what I'm used to seeing, what I'm used to believing, it's causing me to question all those things. It's causing me to be really honest with myself and say, yeah, I see what you've been doing for the last year, 2 years, 3 years. What's worked? What hasn't worked? What are you really taking away and moving forward with? And what do you really want to take away and move forward with? Because we all are faced with infinite possibilities, right? And sometimes that can cause us to freeze in our tracks and not pick a choice or not pick a thing and not move in a direction because we're afraid. It's always boils down to we're afraid of something. We're afraid we're going to miss out on something else, or we're afraid we're going to make the wrong decision or choice, or we're afraid of success. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of making a mistake. We're afraid of looking foolish. We're afraid of all kinds of things. And as much as I think I've battled against and poked through on some of those, I'm human too, and those things pop up and show up in my life just like they do in yours and pretty much everyone else's on the planet. As we do things, as we advance, as we become more confident and stretch our comfort zone, it isn't that we're not afraid anymore. It's just that we know that the chances are when we do the thing that we're afraid of, all of a sudden we're going to realize, like 99.9% of the time, that what we were afraid of was just made up by us in our mind, in our heads, in our imagination, to be something to be afraid of. And when we actually do it or take action to move toward it, we find, oh my gosh, that was like nothing. It was like a no-brainer. It's like we were so afraid in our mind. It's like if you've ever had to give a speech or a big presentation. Remember back in high school when you had to take speech class and you're petrified because you think that you're going to die if you get up in front of your peers and you give this speech. And you do the speech and maybe it's not as wonderful as you practiced, but you still did okay. You lived through it, that's for sure. And you move on to give another speech or do another thing, or to go to college and do the same thing, then go to work and do the same thing, and then out in the world. And the more you do it, the more you realize that your fears are just like, okay, I was afraid of this mainly because other people were afraid of it, but then I did it and it was it was no big deal. So it's going to be a fun year. I think I'm getting more and more excited about it. Every day I do a little bit I try to do a little bit from each of these programs and each of these coaches to get a taste of each every day. And I'm finding if I do one or the other, then that colors my thinking. So I'm trying to do a little bit of both every day, and we'll see how that works out. I really thank my son for finding this person, because he thinks, although it's way too harsh for me, all the swearing and the innuendos and things. It's like another group that I was in on Facebook that I won't name. I love the group. I sent people there. I still participate periodically, but the approach was very alpha male and mostly sexual. And I find that annoying because I think it's unnecessary. I think if you have a great message and information, it's like selling everything with sex on television. I think it's annoying because if you've got a great product and a great service, you don't have to use sex to sell it. That's my personal opinion. Everybody has a different opinion, but that's mine. So that group, and then this other coach, some of those things I'm just like, and I'm learning to filter through those and say, okay, I see why he's doing that. I understand it's just for effect. Some of us it has a negative effect on, other people it has a positive effect on. He does it to cause people to go away, so that the people that he wants to work with, it's a filter for him to filter through and get rid of people like me that are sensitive. And I'm not really sensitive at all. I have, the skin of a rhinoceros probably, or of a dinosaur, because I'm old and because I've been through a lot. But there's certain ways that people present. And what I'm learning is we pick from people what resonates with us and we let the rest go. But we have to be careful that our filters don't filter out the good stuff, the stuff we really need to see to help us stretch and grow. Today, what do we do? Centering, our 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that centers us. We talked about community goals and what's a community goal that you have, and then what are some things that you can do to get there. And I just said, I want my community to be friendlier. It seems like during COVID, everybody's gotten locked down and tight and kind of afraid of one another. And so I want our community, the community I live in, to be friendlier again, because it's always been a really pretty friendly community. And so how can I impact that? I just said the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to smile at everybody that I see when I don't have my mask on, when I'm out for my walks every day. I'm going to smile at people, which I've been doing that for decades, but I'm going to make a concerted effort to make sure I'm not lost in my own thinking and serious about something, and that I'm consciously acknowledging and smiling at other people. So that was our Do One Thing Every Day That Centers You challenge. Our idiom, our proverb for today, we're doing 100 days of Proverbs. And our proverb for today was a fun one to me because it's you reap what you sow. And I actually found this package of donut seeds that I've had since 1998. For decades, I've had this package of donut seeds that I got at a food show. And it was when I was in the bakery industry, and I got it at the food show, and I kept it. I didn't realize I had kept it. I found it in a bunch of stuff as I was sorting out and going through some things, and I'm like, okay, that's just too funny. I'm going to keep it. So I stuck it in a cup probably 90 days ago and forgot about it until today, when I was like, oh, you reap what you sow. Sow seeds, plant what we plant, and what we harvest is what we harvest, da, 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 da. And so that was fun today. And it also reminds me of the law of karma. What we put out into the world is what we get back. What we put out is, we want to be the example for people. So that was our proverb for today. We're actually on day 97 today, so we got 3 more days of Proverbs, but I realized that I'm a proverb short of 100 because I had a duplicate in the lists that I got a list from for the top 100 Proverbs in the US of A. So I will come up with another one for day 100, and then we'll switch into something different, some other gears. Any suggestions are greatly appreciated. Otherwise, I'll have to go back to my dictionary of 25,000 Proverbs and just go through and pick them. I was going through alphabetically end of last year. I'm like, okay, this is so boring. And beginning of this year, I said, okay, we're going to do 100 days of the most popular Proverbs. So I just Googled everybody, we just Google or we Bing or we, what's the other one? DuckDuckGo. There's all kinds of search engines, but the main ones. And we just look for, we ask questions, we get answers, right? I love technology, especially when it works, but never in my lifetime before now could we just ask questions, ask our cell phones. We can actually just ask our cell phones with our voice and an answer will start to come out. If you've got Alexa in your home, you can ask Alexa and she'll start, because she's on the internet, right? She's not a she's just a box, an AI, but she'll give you answers, right? So technology is making our lives much simpler and much easier in many ways, but it's also causing us to be disconnected from one another. And so we need to remember to get together and work on our community. That's what I'm working on. So again, interesting and exciting. I always love when I'm learning new things. And I of course, we like it when people think like we do. And I love the One Coach's observations because they're the things that I've been thinking and observing for decades in different industries. One of the advantages of being in different industries is you get to see a lot of different things. Now, he's only been in, well, I guess he's probably been in a lot of industries now. He's been in business for 50 years. And he's been in real business, making money for 50 years, not just in the speaking or the internet marketing or the marketing business. Marketing, although it's big business, it isn't all of business, right? And so that's been one of my things that's been kind of pulling at me in terms of doing things online. I'm like, yeah, I see you can do this cool stuff online, but it's only, to me, it feels like it's just surface things that we do online. And so I'm a little bit more big picture and the whole thing focused than, oh, well, just this little piece here we're going to do. So if that makes sense. All right, that's all I've got today. I've got things to do. Go out, make it an amazing day. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below or direct message me. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow to just share what I'm doing as documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world. And don't be surprised if I start putting my fingers back out into the brick and mortar non-online world a little bit more, because I've noticed that I'm really missing it the last few years. As much as I've said, okay, I want to do all this and learn all this stuff and figure all this stuff out online, I miss the real life one-to-one interaction that comes with brick and mortar world. And so we'll see as I go through these new coaching programs what I decide, what pieces I'm going to take with me and what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm getting old, but I still got lots of energy and lots of good years left in me. So I'm not ready to throw in the towel and quit and just retire and lay on the beach right now and sip my pina coladas instead of coffee in a cow cup. But I like my Wisconsin coffee in a cow cup too. All right. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.